All right. Good morning, traders. Can you all hear me okay? Do a quick sound check. Thank you, Debbie. Sky Bob, helicopter. Awesome. Just by way of a um we have a huge storm hitting right now. We've got about 7, 8 inches of snow on the ground, and the power has been spotty all morning long, and the internet has been spotty all morning long. So if I unexpectedly just drop, it's because the power or the internet or something's gone. So, but we'll go ahead and trade while we can. See what we can do. How are y'all this morning? Good weekend? Hopefully everyone's weekend was great. See if I can get the chat working here on this tiny little computer. Housework, yuck. Yuck. Ooh, swimming, Catherine. That sounds great. Snow. Jerry, you always have to rub it in. You're probably out on the golf course already. You've been out on the golf course already this morning. Okay. Well, let's start out. We'll take a look at the broad markets and then kind of work down. Start out with the dailies and then work down into the hourly and then the 5 minute and 1 minute. So here on the daily chart, we've seen pretty sizable rally coming up into some highs. So we've got some highs back over here, hitting those highs, finding a little resistance, hitting them strong on Thursday, and then pulled off really strong on Friday. And over the weekend, we dropped lower than the apex, and then we've rallied all the way back up since. So a little bit of, bullish, bearish. We're starting to feel a little bit of that tug of war coming into the daily charts. The big thing is just want to know where and when or if we'll break that big resistance layer. We have that false break over here, which set up a big sell-off. So we'll just keep an eye on that level. Looks like we'll be hitting it today. So we'll take care of that when we get, or we'll address that once we get up into those highs. Hourly hopefully gives us a little cleaner picture of how this is all shaping up here. So a little discrepancy or a little bit of discrepancy on where that line is. But I think we'll use that top line because we got body highs here, body highs here, body highs here. We've got wicks on the ups on top of that line. So I think we'll pay close attention to what happens once we get up into these upper ranges. Here we see a little bit of an outside. We broke down in a false break to new lows. And then since then, we've rallied up pretty hard up into the old highs. Another significant point is the underside of the double top here. So we've got a double top, the bottom of the double top, the second top, and then the break. So this line right here should give us a little bit of resistance, which is what we're seeing right now. We're seeing that resistance right up on that line. So let's watch for on the 5-minute chart. We're going to watch for a reversal because that could set up a little down leg here. And then we'll want to pay close attention to the break of this, because the movement from this line up to the top, super high probability direct. If we do break that top and we break it with conviction, then we should see a pretty good rally all the way up into those highs. We'll drop down to the 1 minute and the 5 minute. Hopefully those lines held through right there. Five-minute chart, apex candle. Right here. Little gap right there. So right now we're in strong bullish territory right now, until we get down into these lows, and then we'll see what happens down there. So I'm going to start out with building a little long position right in here. Just going to build a little long position. Picked up those profit there. And we'll just keep doing that. Any kind of pullback, we'll start to build that long. I want to keep those targets underneath the line. So, if you get a pullback deep enough to get those targets underneath that line, that's where you want it. It's just a high probability hit, right on that line. So if we go back to that, if we were to go back to that hour chart, we would see we're just pressing on that line. We've got 1 minute and 50 seconds on the 5-minute chart left. So a lot of time for that to pull back. We'll watch and see if it starts to build some support here on the 1 minute. So we'll look for some bullish support here before the break on the 5-minute chart. Just waiting for it to pull back a little deeper. I don't want to get those targets in above that white line. I want to wait right in here. There we go. Now I'll build first position. This is likely to follow through to the downside, so let it make another leg before you build too heavily here. Picked up some profit there. I'm itching to go short, but I don't dare. Just itching. Jerry's like, go ahead, do it. Come on. You can do it. Jerry short. Of course you are. Still seeing that resistance play in, and we've got a new 5-minute candle. I can't help myself. I'm going short, guys. Odds are stacked against the short, so if you do take a short, just remember that. There's nothing structurally saying that you should be short right now. But we are in like a transition area where we would expect to see a little bit of resistance. We've overextended, so there's those profit on the shorts. Now, right here, we will watch. We should see a little bit of support come in here. So I'm going to go ahead and put a couple longs on, but this is where that trend can break down. So trend really should give it some support. So putting some longs in here is not a bad idea. But if it breaks, this is also the momentum candle to the downside. So it's a higher risk area to put those longs in. Structurally, everything supports it. But if this is to break down, which, there's a really good chance it will, then the longs may not pan out. I'm going to go ahead and build into the short again. See it in the intra candle price action is kind of really fighting it right now. There's a lot of big battle going on. You can kind of feel it in the price action. So again, not a high probability trade, but one that makes sense, from a what's next kind of move. Okay, seeing that wick underneath, that's a bullish sign. Seeing that flicker, we should be breaking here in just a moment. Breaking one way or the other. Hopefully, for those of us who are short, hopefully that's to the downside, right? Catherine, that's smart to wait and see. Nothing wrong with that. Amanda, same thing. This is a risk trade, right? It's not a high probability trade. Really not wanting to let that market drop. So we may see an up leg right here. Momentum, bias, everything favors the upside. Setup, structure, momentum, bias, setup, structure, all favors the upside. Overextension at a resistance level, that favors the downside. So it's kind of how you read it, right? But the probability of calling it either direction, the odds are on the bull side. So we're kind of against the odds and against the probability. Amanda, you're absolutely right. It could go either way, and it could go hard either way, and so it is a tough time. A lot of reasons why you should be long. A few really good reasons why you should be short. There's the bull leg, and we're right back up into that resistance level. And bulls are picking up. The bullish momentum is picking up. Still see that bullish momentum. 5 seconds left on that candle. We're going to see if it breaks. New candle. Pull back. Not very strong. Okay, the more it holds in the upper range, the more opportunities that gives the buyers to jump in. So as it holds in that upper range, that the buyers get more and more confident, more and more. And this is not what I want to be, is in a short position on a breakaway like this. "20 seconds left on that candle. And just holding, holding, holding. It presses and holds, presses and holds, presses and holds. That's all very bullish behavior. What I'm doing right now is I'm going to look for, if I can get a stack of profit off, I got to clean up my position size. Way too heavy for where I want to be right now. Way too heavy for the structure. If I can pick up a little profit on that stack, I'm going to go ahead and close out some of these trades. And just gonna kind of, it's not the break, the momentum hasn't picked up, so I'm just kind of, at any given moment the bullish momentum can pick up. It can pick up on a dime, and so I'm waiting. What's keeping me in the trade is we haven't seen that bullish momentum, and sometimes it builds up slowly, sometimes it builds up just fast as can be. But right now, by all accounts, this should be breaking to the high side. Now, even though I think it should be breaking to the high side, I'll still work. I can close everything out right now and then reposition for the long side. But we are getting overextended, especially on that hour chart, we're overextended on the 5-minute chart. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Momentum picking up, yikes. Big strong candle on the 5-minute chart that may give those buyers the confidence they need. But still not, it's just still not giving us any kind of real conviction. That's kind of keeping me in this. Come on. Pull back down. Oop, there's some buyers right there. And it's just that press and move and press and move and press and move. And no, it was like this all week last week where it just wouldn't give you that little pullbacks or little, it just presses and moves higher. All right, there's that momentum. So now I know that now that's the moment where the trade has decidedly picked up to the long side. Looked like it was going to, it actually did. And we should be up on resistance layers up in here. So now I'm going to go into fix it mode, fix a bunch of trades. And we're up on the daily highs. This is that zone where I wanted to be long in the beginning, where I said I wanted to be long and I got stuck in that short position. Not entirely what I wanted to have happen. So I'm in a fix it mode now. So any kind of income that I can get, I'm peeling off some of the loss side. I pulled some of the short or some of the targets from the bottom up into the top. So if we do get a test of the break, then hopefully we can I can maximize that income off that. And this could be a blow off top too. That's another consideration. Blow off tops, you typically get just this crazy run like we're seeing right here to the high side. And then immediately just kind of pulls right back down into the lows. So that's another consideration here. If it's going to turn, this is a great place for it to turn and make another leg higher though. So we're right about 50% of the last leg. Buyers are still stepping in and pushing this or holding it, supporting it. So you can see how how that price bar moves. It's going up, it's kind of holding, it's going up, gets a little pop, it holds, it kind of pulls back just a little bit. The more it holds in that upper range, again, same thing that we saw back here. The tricky thing is that we're just not getting enough volatility to get trades on and off. The only trades that we have are the long sides right now, and so which is the wrong place to be getting into if this is a blow off top. So kind of just a tricky area to tricky trading. I'm peeling a little bit off. We've made a little bit. Second tail on the bottom. That's very bullish. So we should get a little up leg here. I'm going to go ahead and put some longs on. Hedge out this perceived little gap area. And then as I hit targets, I'm going to start to put the shorts back on. Hit some of the long targets and then some of the short targets. So the key right here is money in the account. So not position trading. I'm just trying to put money into the account. I want to keep my income up as high as I possibly can. Body low. A body low is a good sign for the short. So I'm going to anchor into that. Try and catch one more little leg lower, which is very common on a pullback test. And at the same time, I'm going to try and mitigate exposure on the long side if we get a rally like this. So here are the longs. I'm going to peel off those longs. See if there's a little bit of a wick on the top of this candle. If so, that would be a really good sign. If you could pull the body back down. It made its run a little early, so there's a little bit of hope for that. Of course, momentum would kill that hope. So we didn't get the body pull back like we were hoping. So again, that pendulum swinging a little bit towards the long side. I do have Amanda ask the question, do you have any the movements of the yuan and how China is trying to we're in what's called a currency war. We've been in a currency war for probably a decade now, where a lot of the machinery is positioning against a dollar as the reserve currency. And lately we've seen some enormous movement through the China block towards facilitating most of your oil transactions in non-dollar currencies, particularly the yuan. And so there's a big question, whether that will hold, whether that will, but it's a war. And so they made their move. Now the US will try and make its move. And so it's unclear who the winners will be, who the losers will be. I think the losers will be the people, but you know what, I've got way more, a lot of good material that I've kind of been following. So maybe one of these days, Amanda, in the near future, I can kind of go through a presentation on that. It's good to know, especially for the dollar, because like right now the dollar is, everybody's out to get the dollar. So yeah, I'll put something together and maybe do a special class or something. All right, the rest of this trade kind of work depends on breaking trend, which is a lot to ask for a market like this. So let's see if it's able to break trend, or if this is just like what we were back over here. So right now we're about break even, just a little under where we started on the day. If we're able to break this trend and hit these target stacks down here, we'll make good money in the session. If not, then we'll probably have to work through another cycle, which is okay either too. Everyone's out for your dollar, Jerry. They're like, hey, everybody, let's go get Jerry's dollar. little break right there. Come on, it's got to follow through. It's got the good timing, but it's got to follow through. And it's kind of wimping out. I'm going to peel off a couple of these. Just take that little opportunity to take off some of the size. You don't need to be sized that big. Oh, we are so close. Yep. Nice big stack here and another big stack down here. So remember, we were down here, right? And we would have made, pretty good income if it had broken down. Now we've made good income, but we're much higher than where we were, right? Which is kind of cool. It's kind of cool that we can move and adjust with the market and make good money through that process. Still, that move to the downside is not nearly as fluid and nearly as smooth as that move to the upside was. So there's still some buyers fighting, or just a lack of volume. That was the real story last week, is there just wasn't enough volume in the market. There we go. So now we're in good profit. And we broke the trend. We turned on the 5-minute chart. So now we get my favorite trade set up, hopefully. That first retracement of the breakdown. So we wait for this to run for just a minute, and we should see we're waiting for a little bit of an up leg to form. I could go ahead and put a couple of longs on just to see if we can catch that little bounce. But the volatility has just been horrible this morning. And so these have not worked out very well. The little scalp moves that you're looking for just to catch a little of that volatility. If this goes into a marching market, then I don't know what. Good price structure should give us a bounce, right? The bulls were so intense back over here, but they're just gone now. How does that work? Right? They just stepped away. Like, oh well. So usually you get that little bounce back up. That sets up. I made so much money on that, on the bounce, not the bounce up, but you wait for that run and then you go in the short direction. But these markets are just not, there's no volatility in them. Makes it tough to, it just makes it tough to make money. It's marching. This is the line in the sand right here. If it doesn't bounce there, then we've got a really solid marching market in our hands. I guess there is a little gap here that we'll hold through to that gap. I wouldn't dare go the short side right now. It's just too overextended to the downside, for those small legs, right? This is just one little leg, and it's way too overextended for a single leg. So I'd be leery about going short. But then again, the way that the market has been moving for the last week and a half, you go short here and you make money. But for 50 weeks before that, you would get killed if you went short here. My whole goal here is to just get back to break even. From the highs, like from where we were when we made our money up here. There's the turn point. The turn didn't happen. Uh, it should be warm. So we should be, snow should be melting off. And in fact, over the weekend, we had a bunch of snow melt. And then we've got probably 3 days of this storm that's hitting. And then I imagine that'll probably be the end of the cold season. We need it. We've been in a drought for almost 3 years. So it was getting a little scary. So the snow is good. The snow is good for us. We don't get a lot of rain in Utah. We're one of the driest states. So it makes a little, we depend on that snowpack. All right here. We're just gonna slowly inch our way out of this trade. Hopefully it just hits targets, but just close out, close out, close out, close out, close out, close out. All right, now it goes. Markets are too slow for me this morning. I'm not in rhythm with them. So we did pick up a little bit of income on that trade, not a whole lot, but it's just the good patterns, that good market structure just isn't forming. It really makes it tough. I think, guys, I think I'm just gonna call it a session. Again, I just on days like this, there's several days last week where the market was just slow and it got those persistent grinds. And I'm on the wrong side of it, and then it grinds and grinds and grinds, and my personality is such that that I over allocate when the markets are slow. Like the summer doldrums are really tough for me because the market's just too slow and not enough volatility in it. And so I think just knowing who I am, knowing where I thrive, what kind of markets I thrive in, it's not an excuse to say you can't make money in these markets, because you can, and you ought to, and you have to, if this is how you make a living. But where I've got a little bit of income already for the day, why push it? Just doesn't make sense. The only reason I'd be pushing it is for your benefit, to let you see some more trading. So I think we'll wrap it up. Yeah, Janine, that's exactly right. You end up, one of these trades I'll just end up taking a big loss on, and then we're here for 2 hours. Great to be with you today. I get to go shovel snow, I think. So and I'm glad the lights stayed on, so that was nice. Yeah, founders in the morning for sure, Kim. Yeah, we'll trade in the morning. Hopefully the markets will clean up a little bit. All right, we'll see you. Thanks, everyone. Great trading with you today. We'll see you. Bye.